Views expressed on this program are those of the host, guest, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Are you ready to stop stress, anxiety, and low self-esteem from running your life? Join award-winning author Dr. Friedemann Schaub from Empowerment Radio as he addresses some of the most prevailing challenges in our day-to-day lives. Find out how you can use the power of your mind to overcome self-sabotaging patterns and build a solid foundation of confidence and self-respect. Learn cutting-edge tools and approach every day with great ease, joy, and purpose. This is the time to empower yourself. Now, here's your host, Dr. Friedemann Schaub.
Welcome to Empowerment Radio. I'm your host, Dr. Friedemann Schaub, and I'm very excited about the topic that we are addressing today, which is a topic I think a lot of us can need a little help and support with. Now, with Empowerment Radio, we're always talking about life's challenges, the obstacles that come along the way, the curveballs that get thrown at us, and we're talking about what we can do to not only deal with these challenges, but also grow from them and grow ultimately beyond them. And today we are talking about a challenge that I personally have been dealing with, and probably a lot of you too, which is the challenge of illness, getting sick, and how do you deal with it? What can we do to take our health and our healing into our own hands? And so the title of the show is Intuitive Self-Healing, which has a lot to do with a very special guest that I invited to join me today. But let's just talk about healing for a second. Now, as a physician myself, I certainly had witnessed many times how disempowering it is when people get sick. I mean, we know it ourselves. You have a cold and you feel terrible. You have no energy. You don't want to get out of bed. And I certainly have sometimes the feeling the world ends. And once I have recovered, I realize how much I take my health and my well-being for granted. Now, the disempowering aspect of being ill is not only about this sense of low energy and feeling lousy, it also happens when we go to the doctor. Now, what happens? Usually we are feeling the moment we are entering into the office, somehow the power shifts. We are giving our health and our healing into the hands of the authority, and we are feeling rather small and helpless. Now, at my times when I used to work in cardiology, there was one thing that bothered me, that people became rather shy and rather closed down the moment they saw the white coat. And it took a while to open them up and actually really understand more where they are coming from and what is going on underneath the physical problems. But I also believe that Western medicine has just set up a system where there is not a lot of time to really see the patient as a whole being, but really focus only on the symptoms and the specific treatment plan that has been working out, research has shown it, and then you get sent off your way, and you truly feel as a patient that ultimately it's a doctor's diagnosis that is that judgment call on what's going on, and it is a medicine or the treatment that was prescribed to you that does the healing. Now, I was very fortunate to grow up with parents that were both countryside doctors and that saw people still as whole human beings. They had more time and they took more time in their practice to not only hear about the symptoms and the problems, but really go beyond that. learn more about the situation they were dealing with right now, with family, with the kids, with the work they are having. And so they got a deeper understanding of where these symptoms and where the illness potentially came from. And so they always treated the entire person and didn't focus only on the liver or the lungs or the legs. And I certainly love this about their approach to medicine, and I learned a lot about it. And unfortunately, as I entered into a big hospital, university hospital, where I specialized in cardiology, that approach wasn't possible. As I said, there was just not the time. And so at some point, I left Western medicine just from that perspective that I didn't want to see people just as numbers or as cases that go in and go out and not really have a real relationship with them. And I ventured off into research. Some of you may know that. And I was focusing on basic research, molecular biology. And one of the things I discovered there for myself was, well, in some ways I was lied to in medical school, because all I learned there were the faults, the problems, the issues that our physical body has. And I wasn't really aware of the miracles our body is creating every day, this enormous innate self-healing potential that doesn't only exist in the wholeness of the body, but it exists in a single cell. I worked on single cells, and I always was amazed how this one cell could outsmart us and could adapt and change so quickly that we couldn't really keep up. And it really showed how much intelligence and wisdom is within us. And that is the intelligence and the wisdom that makes us be healthy for most of our lives. You know, that's the self-healing potential that can fend off bugs. When others get sick, we can stay healthy. That's what helps us to heal wounds and bruises. We are not even thinking about it. In fact, that self-healing potential also is able to deal with cancer cells on a daily basis. All those things happen and we don't even notice them. And unfortunately, we also lose belief in this ability. And so this show is about the reminder that we do have an enormous potential inside of us to heal, and that it is time to take our health and healing back into our own hands. Now, in my work, I have been focusing very much on the emotional and mental components of health and healing, something that also, again, in Western medicine, in my education, was a little bit pushed aside or was just kept as something as outliers. But I believe more and more evidence shows that our emotions and what we think and what we believe have a huge impact on whether we are well and healthy or whether we get out of balance and create a dis-ease. And so we can also then activate our healing potential when we are addressing what are the emotional root causes, what are the thought patterns, what are the beliefs that may make us depleted, that may suppress our immune system, that may create symptoms that actually are in many ways messages and communications from our body for things that we may have not really wanted to pay attention to. Now, an example is a client of mine who had psoriasis, which is an autoimmune disease, and many of you have seen it, that these are these thick layers of cells of skin that are just creating almost armor-like fortifications at the most sensitive parts of our body, like the elbows or the forehead or the kneecaps. And often it appears that this is almost as if the body is trying to protect itself. Now, this client of mine, she was covered to almost 50% with psoriasis. She was only 18 years old and had just left her home, and in many ways was distraught because the itching and the way it looks just made her feel almost hopeless. Now, when we discussed more about what was going on in her life, she told me that she had left her home more from that feeling that she wasn't able to be herself, that she felt smothered by her family, that she was always told how to be and what to do. And so she was breaking out from that system. Now, where she lived now was in a little crappy apartment. She didn't really have a job that she was able to provide herself with. She felt just in between a rock and a hard place. She couldn't go back to her parents, but also she couldn't really, or she didn't believe she could survive on her own. And so that conflict, also that sensitivity, showed up in her physical illness. And the amazing thing was when we addressed these emotions and these beliefs and the inner turmoil, what happened was that she was able to create a complete different relationship, not only to her life, to her parents, but also to herself and her body. And her psoriasis healed by 90% in just a few months. And she didn't take any different medication. She was really just creating a more harmonious field inside of herself. Now, this is something that I believe my very special guest can very much relate to, and she probably would have seen right away just by looking at this patient what is going on with her. And that is the special gift that she has, and that is the uniqueness that I'm so happy to share with all the listeners about this very special guest, which is Marie Manuchehri. She is an energy healer. She is this perfect bridge between conventional holistic medicine. We talk more about why that is the case. Marie has a private practice where she does this energy healing as medical intuitive work that she does with clients all over the world. Thousands of clients have benefited from it. She's an author of this wonderful book, Intuitive Self-Healing, which we will talk about more. She has a 6 CD series, How to Communicate with Your Spirit Guides, and she has a weekly radio show at 1150 KKNW in Seattle. So there are a lot of things that she does, that she shares with the world, and I know that she's very busy, so I'm very grateful to have her on the show. When we come back, we will talk with Marie about her work and what we can do to use our energies and to activate our innate self-healing potential. So stay tuned. We will be right back.
Are you anxious, worried, or insecure? Hi, I'm Dr. Friedemann Schaub. I'm the author of The Fear and Anxiety Solution. Join me for my next breakthrough video seminar, which starts on September 10th. This program has helped thousands of people worldwide to overcome their struggles with anxiety, and I'm certain it can also help you. If you're ready to be free again and have a stronger foundation of inner peace and confidence, visit thefearandanxietysolution.com.
What is a brilliant culture? And how do we create them? Why are they important? Claudette Rowley has created a breakthrough 5-step process to help you design a culture that is authentic, innovative, and successful. Learn how to create change with Cultural Brilliance Radio, the DNA of organizational excellence, and Claudette Rowley. To learn more or work with Claudette, visit ClaudetteRowley.com.
Tune in to Lucid Planet Radio with Dr. Kelly Neff. This hit show will illuminate your senses and empower you beyond your daily stressors and hardships. Renowned psychologist and author Dr. Kelly will captivate you with far-reaching topics and amazing guests as you wake to the greatest version of yourself. Learn to tap into your intuitions, think critically about our world, heal emotional and psychological wounds, and follow your passions to live your dreams. The Lucid Planet. Welcome home. Visit lucidplanetradio.com for more information.
Are you ready for a game changer? Sarah Westall is bringing you Business Game Changers Radio. Sarah brings you leading experts, visionaries, and newsmakers who provide the best commentary on big issues and cutting-edge innovations. Sarah's 20 years as a business executive will help you think like an entrepreneur with expertise, energy, and attitude. Tune into Business Game Changers Mondays at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
If you're one of the millions of Americans suffering from anxiety, you probably know how powerless and out of control this emotion can make you feel. This is why it is so important to remember that anxiety is created by your mind, which means that you can learn to use your mind to uncreate it. Hello, my name is Dr. Friedemann Schaub. My award-winning book, The Fear and Anxiety Solution, provides you with a step-by-step breakthrough process to understand and resolve the root causes of your anxiety and build a solid foundation of confidence and inner peace. If you're ready to take your power back, visit thefearandanxietysolution.com.
Order your copy of Dr. Friedemann Schaub's The Fear and Anxiety Solution today. Visit thefearandanxietysolution.com for more information.
Well, welcome back to Empowerment Radio. I'm your host, Dr. Friedemann, and as I said before the break, we have a wonderful guest today with us, Marie Monacheri, which is an energy intuitive. She has started similarly to me, also in Western medicine. I think we have a lot of things actually in common. We have been residing in the Seattle area. We have been publishing with Sounds True. We have been reshifting really our focus. So, well, I'm excited that you're here. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Friedemann. And how exciting you live in France now. What a wonderful experience for you and your lovely bride.
Well, it is a wonderful experience. Thank you very much. And one day I'm going to talk all about that because it's quite an interesting journey and really I feel showed how much we can manifest when we are coming from a place of joy, like you, I think, are a very strong proponent from. But let me ask you about your journey. Mm-hmm. So you have been starting basically your journey also as in I think an oncology ward as a nurse. So tell me about that.
Well, interesting. My background is actually holistic medicine. I was raised, by hippies, basically, who refused to take their children to doctors when we were little, unless we broke a bone. We were always months, sometimes a year behind in our vaccination. So what surprised me when I was in my early 20s, pregnant for the very first time, walking into a hospital to get a blood draw, I was kind of worried because I was taught to really not appreciate modern medicine. And when we were really sick, our parents would take us to Chinese herbal medicine doctors. A chiropractor was our primary care physician. So I was kind of a little, worried as I was walking into this large teaching hospital to have my blood drawn. And I had this phenomenal experience where I felt enormous joy as I entered the facility. And it was so joyful. I'm sure you've had many of these moments where it almost feels like time stops, as if you can just see the light that's in the room, and almost like you can hear beautiful soft music in the background. It's such a high vibrational experience to hear joy, especially when it's so spontaneous. Mm-hmm. And I think that is a sign of something really good for us, or a part of our path, like we're in our clarity and that high frequency vibration, and that we can sense something that our soul or the world of consciousness is trying to bring into our awareness. So from that moment on, I got very curious about entering nursing, even though many people prior to that had suggested that I become a nurse, because I really love research and studying, and I love caring for people. So after my second child was born, I entered a nursing program. And I loved nursing, by the way, loved modern medicine. I was like, oh my gosh, here's this whole other part of healing that I had no awareness of. And so it was so incredible to see surgeries, complicated surgeries that would take someone out of the brink of death, moving into to get their life back. It was just a phenomenal experience for me. But while I was working as an oncology nurse, I started to have multisensory experiences, and I had believed in spirituality. I had read a lot of books about it, but I had very, very few experiences, like maybe a little something once every 10 years, nothing that was reliable. I still have a lot of faith about it, but I didn't have a lot of personal experiences. But while I worked in the hospital, I had mounting experiences that led me to a whole nother way of helping people to heal.
Now, when you say, you loved medicine, but somehow you also felt that your path needed to be somewhere else. I mean, you deliberately moved forward into this next phase. So what was the driving force? Did you feel like you can be of greater service, or did you see the limitations of maybe the diagnosing and the Western medicine approach, or what drove you?
Yeah, that's such a great question. Again, I felt this shift in energy. It was one morning, I'm walking off the floor to go to work. I was working the day shift at that time, and our patients are really sick. When you work in-house, as you know, for oncology patients, it's not like outpatient where they're just coming in for chemo and leaving. Sometimes our patients would stay for months. Many of them passed away. Probably over 50% of the people I treated actually died in our hospice, in the oncology floor or in hospice care in the hospital. But so I'm walking out of the elevator. And again, at that point, I think, I love my job. I'm so excited. Yes, I had spoke to physicians about giving their patients probiotics and us changing the diet in the hospital so that when people's immune system is depressed, we're actually feeding them nutritious, healthy food and combating fungal infections, by all the chemo and antibiotics that we're giving them with, healthy things like probiotics and stuff like that. So I've had those conversations with nurse supervisors and physicians, but I was still in this bliss until this one morning I walk out of the elevator, and it was almost like I felt as if I was standing on the floor, but I felt as if I had went down several floors. My energy really dropped. I could just feel it, almost like a free fall of an elevator. Mm-hmm. And immediately I thought, I think I'm supposed to leave nursing. Literally, that was my thought. But then, of course, like most people, I talked myself out of it and thought, well, no, I'm just tired that day. I had 3 children at that time, and I was in a very complicated, challenging marriage. So I thought, okay, so I bought a new scrub and, but put some flowers in the house. And every morning, the very same thing would happen. Every single morning. So it was clear to me, I think this is an important part of even self-healing, is to really pay attention to energy. It's all around us. We are energy. Our organs are energy. Our physiology is energy. And a lot of times, even when we do get that omnipresence moment where we get this clarity of energy, we talk ourselves out of it. We go get the corner office, or we take a quick trip to Las Vegas, which probably isn't very healthy either. We do something to kind of block our guidance system. And so I would question, okay, maybe nursing isn't my passion, because I thought it was. And in the morning, I started to pray. I started to say, okay, creation, whatever my passion is, even if it's selling green tea on the I-90 corridor, which is a highway here in the Northwest, I said, I want to live my passion. And within a couple months of that, I began to see and hear energy.
How did you notice this the first time? What did that look like?
Well, actually, I was actually doing some work. I was working some night shifts at that time for somebody. I was doing some shifting around of my schedule, and I was working nights. And I had a few patients that were struggling, and night can be a really difficult time for really sick people. And I was standing at the bedside of one of these people, and all of a sudden, part of their body started to light up for me. So they have all their blankets on, they're laying in bed, they have IVs and tubing going on, and I'm at their bedside. It's 1:00 in the morning. And it was if I could see through the sheets and through the bed covers, and I could see this woman's liver, and it was talking to me, it was having a conversation with me. And really, it was so spontaneous and so kind of unique. Part of me is going, well, I know anatomy, and of course her body is feeling toxic. Her liver's burdened with toxins right now because she's on all this medication. So again, I kind of talked myself out of it, but then other things started happening. Then someone's kidneys were talking to me, and someone's reproductive organs. So I started to have this realization that probably everybody's organs have been talking to me for a really long time, but I hadn't really allowed myself to be empowered with my gifts. And at the same time, I was questioning my marriage. So I had this very challenging marriage. I remained in the marriage for 20 years, and I was questioning it. I was becoming more empowered, and so obviously loving myself more and appreciating myself. And I think that whatever the circumstances are where our lack of self-worth is evident in our lives, when we start to morph into the truth of whom we are and the love and respect that we each deserve to give ourselves and to feel very deeply, then our guidance system is free. The resistance is moved away, and we have this awareness of whom we are. So that's what I think initiated the experience.
Wow, fascinating story. And I really love how you said that you probably have always been able to notice these organs talking to you, and you just didn't pay attention. And isn't it true that many of us probably are not paying attention to their true gifts and their callings because we are talking ourselves out of it? And what you said in the book, one of the lines that I really loved was about honoring our emotions as the guidance system that it is. And of course, now when we see that there is an epidemic of depression and anxiety in our society, we have to ask ourselves, what are our emotions trying to tell us? What is really going on? And why is it that we are not paying attention? All of those things we will talk more about after the break. But if you have any questions, if you would like to just get a quick, or would like to have Marie have a quick glance at your energy, call in 888-418-6890. And the first 3 callers will also get a special gift from Marie, which is what, Marie, by the way? What are you giving away?
So I'm going to give away a copy of the book, and thank you so much for mentioning it. And congratulations also on your book. And I love that we share the same publisher. So really, I do. So Intuitive Self-Healing. And then I'm going to give away 2 CD packs. There's 4 of them. It's called the Healing from Within series. It's a video conversation between myself and a celebrated naturopathic physician who actually is retired now, who lives on Woodby Island, Dr. Sheila Den Merritt. And it covers various topics. And so she also talks about natural remedies. And then we talk about energetic remedies. And it's a really fun conversation.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. So when we come back, we'll talk more about intuitive healing, chakras, energy, medicine, and more. So stay tuned. We will be right back.
Are you anxious, worried, or insecure? Hi, I'm Dr. Friedemann Schaub. I'm the author of The Fear and Anxiety Solution. Join me for my next breakthrough video seminar, which starts on September 10th. This program has helped thousands of people worldwide to overcome their struggles with anxiety, and I'm certain it can also help you. If you're ready to be free again and have a stronger foundation of inner peace and confidence, visit thefearandanxietysolution.com.
Chris Stanis is a spiritual leader and healer and teaches a course on how you can transform your life through a meditation and healing system that will manifest your spirit's dreams. She manifested the Women of Wisdom Conference, the Women of Wisdom book, and this radio show. And she can show you how to change your life too. Are you ready? Visit the website and contact her at voicesofwomentoday.com. That's voicesofwomentoday.com.
Beyond being this amazing neurologist, inventor, author, Dr. Dan Cohen has been called to look at technology and look at personal and spiritual development and merge these together. As technology uses the healing and psychospiritual effects of synchronized sounds, vibration, electromagnetic fields, and how that interacts with us in our nervous system in what we're calling the Soul Tech chair.
The Soltec Lounge induces profound levels of relaxation that transition over time into deep meditative states. The synchronized sound, vibration, and magnetic field induce these states. The subject doesn't have to work at it.
To learn more, go to soltecwellbeing.com. That's SOLTEC Wellbeing.
Are you ready to stop stress, anxiety, and low self-esteem from running your life? Join award-winning author Dr. Friedemann Schaub for Empowerment Radio and learn breakthrough solutions to switch out of survival mode and approach every day with great ease, joy, and purpose. Tune in the first and third Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific to Empowerment Radio with host Dr. Friedemann Schaub on Transformation Talk Radio. Visit thefearandanxietysolution.com to learn more.
Hi, this is Leslie Fontaine, and my show is Sheer Alchemy on TransformationTalkRadio.com. When we're bogged down with our emotions, the hardships that plague us in our relationships, at work, our finances, we literally can't see the higher plane where we could be operating from. Tune in to Leslie Fontaine, Sheer Alchemy on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Dr. Friedemann, and I am talking with the lovely Marie Manucheri, which is the author of, tell us the book and how we can get a hold of it and the website.
Sure. Yeah, so energyintuitive.com is my website. You can buy the book at Amazon or Sounds True or off my website, and various bookstores around the country also carried. It's also been translated into German and Russian as well. And I think Norwegian. Yeah, I think there was a third one. So those are the ways you can purchase it.
Mm-hmm. And if people are interested in getting a hold of you and your work, how would they do that?
Yeah, the best way is to actually write into the website. I do just want to also say that for years I book out in advance. So I'm typically booked out a year in advance. So people need to be aware of that. We do have a cancellation list, and health issues are priority on the list. And so right. I like to think that most people who have a serious health issue, that we get them, in at a good amount of time, but just to be aware that it is possible that someone would have to wait a year for an appointment, or probable, especially if you don't have health issues. Other than that, the radio show, of course, I do readings on the air for others, and I also teach. I'm doing a talk at East West Bookshop in December, and I'm working on a retreat in North Carolina that will happen in the summer, and I'll teach a couple classes here in Seattle and another international one next year too. So I think classes are a great way, especially if you're working on your metaphysical aspects. I think when you're in that group energy and you want to really enhance your intuition and open up your third eye more, or be able to sense the pathways to your own intuitive genius, I think classes are a phenomenal way to do that in that group energy. I think it's quite prolific in its ability to help people align with that.
Now, you're certainly very busy, which is wonderful, and you have so many gifts to share. And you probably have also to take care of your own health and well-being. And are you reading your own energies? Are you checking on your liver and your kidneys and see if they're happy?
Absolutely. And of course, I do get my checkups. I see my naturopath and, make sure that I have my regular checkups. But yes, I think we're supposed to be in contact with our own body all the time. Mm. So I'm a big fan of detoxifying. So I'm usually detoxing something in my life, whether it's chocolate or sugar, or like right now, I had this realization that because I love tea, and I usually drink caffeinated tea like green or black, and I have for decades, lots and lots of tea. And I decided, wow, I drink so much tea. I'm sure the salicylates probably aren't great for me. So I've decided to not drink tea for a while. Or who knows, if my body says, please don't drink it again, then I'm just going to do it on occasion. So I think it's really important to pay attention to the body, because it is talking to us all the time.
Mm. Well, if you have any questions for Marie, call in at 888-418-4669. 6890, and Justin will let us know if there have been callers in, because I cannot really see right now what he's texting me or what he's putting on the chat box. So if Justin is there, is anybody calling in, let us know.
Yes, actually, we have caller Stacy.
All right, Stacy, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Good morning, Friedemann, and good morning, Marie. I'm so excited to talk to both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Do you have any questions for me or Marie?
I do. For Marie, I would love to get a read on my energy, and I need some help to continue moving forward with some different projects I want to get off the ground and work on. I'm very excited, and I'm trying to figure out those pieces to put it all together.
Right. Well, thank you so much for calling in and for listening to Dr. Friedman's show. It's a great show. It's so amazing to have a physician taking calls and talking to people about their health. I just love it. So I've already read your energy. I drew it out as you were speaking. And a lot of things are actually quite lovely. Your crown chakra and your root in the back of your third eye have this great absorption of light. So you're getting plenty of subatomic particles through some what I would call prominent energy centers for the human anatomy and physiology. When I look at kind of the core chakras, like the throat, the fourth, the heart chakra, the solar plexus, and the second, they're very light in color. So there's not a lot of vibration in those four chakras. And you do have a leak at the second chakra. So right away that tells me that you do a lot for other people. And it's in fact, I want to laugh a little bit because you want to go ahead and put all these projects together for yourself, which is excellent. But you have a whole lot of other things going on with a whole lot of other people that you need to stop in order to have the energy to move forward in your own life. And I think that, and the other reason why I see this kind of lack of frequency in these middle chakras is because when I look at your spine, it's very contracted. The energy's tight there, which perhaps your back gets tired or it feels uncomfortable. And on an energetic perspective, it also means that you are a little stubborn. I'm sorry for using stubborn can be good as well, I think, especially for women, but you're a little stubborn. And so that means that sometimes it may be harder for you to hear your own guidance because you're being stubborn about it, and also why you tend to want to take care of other people. I think your ideas are excellent, but I think you have to let people figure out their own stuff if you want to really progress in your own life.
Does that all resonate with you?
That is a lot.
I couldn't hear you. What did you say?
Sorry, it's just a lot to take in, and I have to say it's a lot. It's all accurate, and a lot of stuff I have to manage and shift around with, and I just have a lot to think about with that. Yeah, or you know what I really am a proponent of is not so much thinking and analyzing and processing. I think that takes us away from our authentic emotions and create other emotions that are more fear-based that lock us into a path of resistance. Because I believe everyone's on the right path. I just think that a lot of times we can't see the clarity of what to do next because we have all this resistance, which is typically fear-based information that a lot of times is even made up. It's not even real. I think you just need to trust that you've given the tools that you have, which are great, to the people that are in your life, and you need to let go from them and distance yourself and let them figure it out. Because when I look at some of the people in your life, they kind of don't listen to you anyway. And I mean, no disrespect to any party. It's just that I don't see them going, yay, and taking the ball and running with it. And then that just creates more work for you trying to get them back on track. And I would just prefer that you stay in your own lane, so to speak, and focus on your wonderful life, which I think actually helps everyone else. When we stay focused on our own happiness, our own joy, our own commitment to our success, that energy goes out into the world and actually helps other people to do that for themselves. Well, it is a bit of a challenge for me sometimes when people don't want to listen, and I understand they don't, and I'm trying to step into that role of just living a life
of me, and, all will naturally follow. I absolutely, in my soul, know that. It's making that shift takes some time for me. So, yes. Well, very good. There's just so many, I still go through my thought process on it as well. But I do practice so many different things energetically. It's like listening to Friedemann's show and meditation and
beautiful.
So
beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. At some point during our talk with Dr. Friedemann, I'll give some general techniques that people can use to help them remain in the path of least amount of resistance.
Well, thank you very much for calling in. And I can imagine that just people listening to what Marie is doing, they are eager to also get their reading and their insight. It's very fascinating. So thanks, Stacey, for keeping the ball rolling, and I wish you all the best to move forward on your path. Now, Marie, I have a question. You're welcome. Well, I have a question for you, Marie, in regards to, something Stacey brought up, which is this kind of resistance, the resistance to take care of your own journey, the resistance to move forward, and also the resistance, obviously, to let go of patterns of over-caring or over-providing for others. Do you have a feeling that's a very common challenge that many people are facing?
Yeah, I think the sensitive people like yourself and myself and all the people who listen to your show and people who study spirituality, I think it is probably one of their biggest hurdles in terms of their energy wants to go outward to help humanity, which I think is lovely and wonderful. But I think the energy needs to be balanced. Even in my own work, I could easily work 7 days a week to see clients, but I choose to work 3 days a week. Unless I'm not teaching, then I might see a few people on a fourth day just so that I can do all the things that I love to do and still have free time to eat dinner or go for a walk with friends and get enough rest. So I do think that because also sensitive people can actually see the path for others really well. And that's why I brought up that idea about staying in your own lane, because I think we need to figure out how to see for ourselves, not just for other people, but for ourselves. And, so yeah, I think it is. I think it's an easy diversion or detour that keeps us disconnected from our own magnificence.
But isn't that really, in some ways, the challenge that we are facing in our society, that we are really getting diverted away from our uniqueness and our authenticity because we are told this is how you're supposed to live, and these are the goals that you're supposed to reach, and these are the dreams that you're supposed to give up on, and taking care of yourself or focusing on your path or living your purpose is almost seen as selfish. And isn't that something so that I believe you certainly and others really need to help people with, to get into that level of courage and also self-love and respect to make changes. And what would you comment about that?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I do think, though, once a person heightens their frequency, then they have this clarity, like, oh, this person doesn't really need my help, or they don't actually want it, or this person just wants to complain. Again, they also don't want the help. I think that when we heighten our vibration, then we have this clarity and we can make better choices. I think when we lower our frequency to what I call the social consciousness, where the majority of individuals vibrate their energy, we can't see that clarity of our magnificence, of our true soul, the part of us that came for this incarnation, that of course is speaking to us all the time, just like the way our organs are speaking to us and our physiology. I think our guidance system is speaking to us all the time, but we need to be in the path of least resistance. And worrying is not the path of least resistance. Regardless of what's going on, worrying shuts down the body and shuts down our consciousness. And I do agree with you, the self-love. One of my favorite things to do personally, and what I ask clients to do, especially when they're in a moment where they can feel their energy fluctuating and they're about to lower their vibration, is to just repeat silently or out loud, I love myself, 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 until their vibration goes back up. And then you have this great clarity and you're like, oh, okay. So I think it requires a refocusing all the time about where are my thoughts, where is my energy, because what's going to happen next are our emotions. And emotions are extremely powerful. They're vibrational in nature. And so if we're allowing the lower frequency of emotions to be predominant in our life, then we continue to attract experiences that don't make us happy and don't remind us of our magnificence.
And how much do you believe that our emotions, and that we are maybe either ignoring them, like we try to shove them under the rug, we stay more in our heads and really paying attention to what we are feeling? How much does that have to do with either illness, the development of illness, or the just lack of access to our self-healing potential?
Yeah, I think it's everything. I think, first of all, most people aren't even feeling their real emotions. They're feeling mind-made emotions from thoughts that are basically fear-based. The real emotional body is actually in the auric field. So the emotional body for the individual, because we have a collective emotional body, which very spiritual people tend to spend a lot of time in their heart chakra, and that's what makes them overcompromise or give too much to others. And I think it's very important to spend time in the second chakra, where their personal emotional body is, so that they can be aware of what they're feeling as an individual, which has nothing to do with thinking at all, right? So,
can you have second chakra?
Pardon?
Can you have fear and anxiety in the second chakra?
No, absolutely not. I don't think fear and anxiety is actually a normal emotion. I think that's part of the mind-made over-processing and analyzing. I think when people get to their authentic emotions, the fear and anxiety go away, regardless of the situation. Mm-hmm. And I do know under really difficult, stressful times, you have to kind of keep taking yourself back into the emotional body, because the mind is so powerful and the way it will take over and show frightening potentialities everywhere. But no, I think that in our true emotional body, we are in God consciousness, and creation is not scared or anxious or worried. So, and that's our true essence of who we are.
Mm-hmm. So what would you recommend someone who has been really dealing with a chronic illness and has been from one person to the next and doesn't really feel a solution or doesn't find a solution, almost, giving up on themselves? What would be the first step for someone like this to do to really get back into that vibration of self-healing?
Well, the first thing I would do is I would congratulate them. If they haven't found a solution, and that means most likely their illness is still energetic. Even though they're having some symptoms, it probably hasn't come fully into the physical realm, and it's not completely diagnosed by modern medicine, if you will. But even if it is, even if it's fully diagnosed in modern medicine, the first thing that I would recommend that anyone does is to actually stop feeling sick. Even if they don't feel good, they have to stop their vibrational awareness towards their symptoms and their experiences. They need to start to create an emotional connection to what health feels like. And so one of the things I would ask them to do is to remind themselves what health felt like to them and refocus on those feelings even 100 times a day if they have to, especially if they're so hyper-focused on their symptoms. They're just going to create more symptoms and more connection to not having it resolved. They're crowding the energy and that flow of resistance regarding their health and wellness. I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
Oh, go ahead.
I'm a big fan of what if questions, like, what if my body were to spontaneously heal? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What if health is all abounds? And then if there's something that we need to do in the world, a practical solution, it will become evident to us. We will have the clarity about it, if that makes sense.
But are there, obviously also illnesses that basically have a message, like the metaphorical symptoms. So when we are just shifting away into the focusing on health, are we ignoring the message, or how can we do both?
It really depends on the individual. So I have some clients who are in total denial about their emotional body or their previous experiences, and this is manifesting in their life. And so we have to talk about these things and unearth them. Then I have a bunch of clients who are fully aware, have done a ton of inner work, but they won't let go of it. So it really depends on the individual. And of course, that's what happens when I'm with someone intuitively, because when they come to my office, I don't know why they've come. I don't know their health issue or if it's for a health related situation. I mean, I don't know why anyone comes, but I choose not to know anything about their history or what's going on with them so that I can look at it from an intuitive perspective. So people are unique, but overall, ultimately, I'm going to be giving them the message that they have to get out of negative thinking and frequency in order to heal or find whatever they need to make themselves well. So it will just depend on the individual, because if people have a lot of emotions that they are in denial about, those are creating havoc in their body. So it just depends on the circumstances.
Definitely, yeah. I think we have another caller. Is that right, Justin?
Nope, we got disconnected, but I still have information that we can send out later.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Now, the show is called Intuitive Self-Healing, and a lot of people would say, well, intuition is something for someone like Marie, but it's not really something I have. And what would you tell a person like this about how
Sorry to interrupt. We actually got Renee back.
How to get in touch with your intuition, if you just can touch on that.
Sure. And then I guess Renee's back on the line too as well. Yes. Well, first of all, everyone's intuitive. It's a normal part. Everyone has a third eye, and it's not just there hanging out. It's a part of our multisensory perspective. Maybe not everyone wants to have a career that allows them to work professionally as an intuitive. Everyone has their own natural gifts and talents. But when it comes to our personal awareness, that is normal. I think meditation is important, getting out of the head, allowing oneself to bring their attention to their third eye. In fact, a lot of times when people do that, they start to actually see a physical eye. And I always tell them, yay, that's your third eye. It's talking to you. And at the same time that you're meditating and having this awareness of your third eye, also resting in the second chakra area. So for men, right around the belly button. For women, just about an inch or two below the belly button, so that you can be connected to your authentic emotions, because that's where authentic intuition comes from, is from a person's individual emotional system, which is calm. You know, that's how I always know, like my youngest just recently studied for the bar, and she's been asking me intuitive questions for years and years and years. And I practice, of course, all the time, my intuition constantly, even through media and all kinds of things, so that I keep my skill set up. But when your child is asking, so what grade am I going to get? You know, and, you know, she wants an accurate answer. So, of course, I've worked very hard. So at one point when my daughter, she had just taken the bar, and it was a month before she was going to find out if she passed or not. And every time I thought about it, I felt calmness when I considered if she passed. And so that was my answer. I go, you passed. And she goes, how do you know? And I go, because I'm so calm. Now, if I felt calm that she didn't pass, then that would be the answer, not anxiety. You always want to go for the calm feeling. That's why you need to be connected to your emotional body, which is in the second chakra, which is the second chakra also governs career, partnerships, money, creativity. It governs all the things that humans want to have in their life in a healthy way. So spending time there and feeling the emotional body is so therapeutic for everything in our life.
Wow. Well, more to read in her fabulous book, Intuitive Self-Healing. There's all about the chakras. There are wonderful exercises and how to connect to those, to activate those, to balance those. So this is certainly a great read for anyone who wants to get more in touch with their authentic emotional body and all these other chakras. Now, I'm not sure if we have enough time to talk to Renee, but maybe we can just quickly bring her on, Justin.
Absolutely. Renee, you're on the air.
Oh, hi. Thank you.
Hi, Renee.
Hi. Thank you for a great hour. I just want a quick scan.
Okay, of your energy system? Sure.
Yeah.
I'm drawing it out right now. You have really strong energy. Did you know that about yourself?
Sometimes I do, yeah. Yeah.
It's really strong. So it just tells me you're a very strong person. You have a lot of power. And what I've noticed with individuals who have a lot of power, most of them don't believe that they do. Most of them tend to hold themselves back. They perhaps will let other people take the lead. And so I'm going to encourage you, if that's the case, to start to do the opposite. You do have a leak of energy in your first chakra. So do you have something going on in the family right now? Do you have maybe somebody?
I do.
Yeah. I'm sorry, by the way. It's got to be really intense for the amount of leakage that I'm seeing. I'm very, very sorry. So are you able to break away from what's going on and rejuvenate your own energy system?
During the day, I do, yes. Yes.
Good. And so in the evening, it's a little bit more challenging?
No, the evening is fine. It's during the day, I would say earlier during the day.
Mm-hmm.
But I have time to meditate and relax and, yeah.
Good. And do you have, like, one of the things I love to say when something awry is going on in my own life, I just love to say, only good will come of this. So that could be something that you can say that can help get you back into a positive frequency. And also at the same time, in that way, you're sending positive energy to whatever's going on. But only good will come of this. And even if you need to repeat it a whole bunch of times so you can get back into that path of least amount of resistance and beautiful flow of frequency.
Wow, thank you so much, Marie and Renee, for calling in. I'm sorry, but the show unfortunately is ending. It's out of my hands. But if, of course, you want to hear more about Marie, go to her website, read her book, get her CD sets. Also go to KKNW. The show is on what day?
It's on Thursday mornings at 9, and it's called Where Energy and Medicine Meet.
Well, I'm sure if you have more questions, want to have more readings from Marie, this is the first place to go. And again, thank you so much, Marie, for sharing your gifts with us.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Dr. Friedemann. You're doing a great job. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. And well, this was another wonderful show of Empowerment Radio. We will talk again in 2 weeks. Until then, take very good care of yourself and nurture your authentic energy body, just like as Marie suggested. Goodbye.
You've been listening to Empowerment Radio with Dr. Friedemann Schaub. Join Dr. Friedemann the first and third Wednesday each month at 11 a.m. Pacific as he addresses some of the most prevailing challenges of our daily lives. Discover how you can use the power of your mind to overcome stress, anxiety, and overwhelm and create a solid foundation of confidence and self-esteem. Learn cutting-edge tools so that you can approach every day with great ease, joy, and purpose. To learn more about what Dr. Schaub can do for you, visit thefearandanxietysolution.com.